Mariners win 5-0. They improved to 20-19 on the season. They are finally back above 500 after waiting 38 games to get to that point, but they have reached it. And they take the first two of the series against Detroit. We'll get a chance to go for the sweep on Sunday. Quickly talk about how it happened. Third inning, Jared Kelenic homers to right to score J.P. Crawford with 2 outs to make it 2-0. Teoscar Hernandez scorches a home run to left to make it 3-0. Teoscar Hernandez singles in Julio Rodriguez in the ninth to give him some insurance at 4-0, and a Eugenio Suarez scores on a wild pitch to make it 5-0. I suppose there's some negatives to this game. The middle of the lineup outside of the Kelenic homer wasn't great. Julio does draw a walk and scores a run. Like that cleanup spot for him. We talked about this yesterday. I'm a big fan of what they're doing with the lineup right now. Wasn't his best game by any stretch of the imagination, but I do like that he got on base and is starting to show a better approach at the plate again. Cal Raleigh, not so great, but does draw a walk. They walk 3 times in this game. Taylor Chamel struggles. Colton Wong struggles. The offense wasn't great tonight. I do give some credit to Alex Fado. He pitched pretty darn well. Had a really nice slider going. He's not great. I would prefer to score more than 3 runs against him, but, they scored a bunch yesterday, end up scoring 5 today. It's tough to complain about that too much. I suppose my biggest complaint, this is a weird one, I guess, but I would have let Bryce Miller keep going, baby. 82 pitches, and let's just get into the positive. He was fantastic. Yeah, he only has the 3 strikeouts, but he took advantage of a Detroit lineup that was far too aggressive. And he just didn't get the chance to get into those 2 strike counts. I cannot tell you how impressed I've been with Bryce Miller so far. I mean, he looked good in spring training. Then he had a couple of clunkers, I guess you would call them, in Double-A. Since he's come up, and look, I know that one of the starts is against one of the worst baseball teams I've ever seen, and Detroit is not a good lineup. But you combine this with what he did against the Astros, who are a good lineup, even with some stuff going on. That is a good lineup. Man, how could you not be impressed by what's going on here? And at 82 pitches, look, I get it. You want to have him leave with some confidence, and probably not a guy who's been up in that triple-digit pitch range too often in his career. I would have let him keep going. It just would have been really cool to see a complete game today. But that is nitpicking like crazy. Just really impressive, folks. Really impressive. This is a guy now who I believe his ERA is below 0.5, 0.47. And 57 of 82 pitches for strikes. And we are talking about a guy who was the biggest concern was command. And we are one elite take from Kyle Tucker. One elite take from him not walking anybody in his first 3 major league starts. It's amazing. It's amazing. And the other reason I would have liked to have seen him go again is like the Mariners are working their relievers hard. Like Justin Topa already has 8 holds. And the reason for that is I think Justin Topaz, I know Trevor Gott's on pace to pitch about 80 games. I bet you Justin Topaz in that 75 to 80. And the only reason it might not be is because he didn't start the year with the team. They're working these guys hard. Matt Brash was excellent today. Again, 5.09 ERA isn't even close to indicative of how well he's pitched this year. It's great to see. It's so big that they've gotten this from Miller, knowing that they're going to be without Robbie Ray for all of 2023. Marco was good yesterday, but Miller, even with only the 3 strikeouts, man, it brings a smile to my face. I am so happy for this kid, and it's so big for the Mariners because he looks like a pretty big part of their future too. Sorry. I don't know what I apologized for. It's because I lost my train of thought, I think. Teoscar Hernandez, great game. Great to see. Saw some flashes of it yesterday. Did get to drive in the run and also hit up a couple of balls hard. 229, 274, 18 is not what we signed up for, folks. But he's on a 30 homer pace. And, RBI, if you're into that sort of thing, about a 76 to 80 RBI pace. Awesome to see. Awesome to see him have the big game, because it's not been awesome to see him struggle for most of the year. It's like, this is, with his defensive struggles, he has to be better than this, right? But you see what he's capable of. I think even in this quarter of a year of mostly bad, you've seen what the good can be. And you just take a look at his numbers of what he did with Toronto. He's a good hitter. I expect big things from him in the final 3 quarters of the season. I really do. And Jared Kelenic, he strikes out 3 times tonight. It's tough to complain when you hit a homer, man. Tough to complain. This is, again, it's against Detroit, who's not a very good baseball team. And I think we've seen the Mariners kind of take advantage of the lacklusters early on. But that's important. You got to beat these bad baseball teams. You have to. And there's a lot of opportunities here. Because, man, I talked about it last night as well. Oh, there are just some unbelievably terrible baseball teams. Unbelievably terrible baseball teams. But they've looked good. They've won 3 of 4, something like 6 of 8. They're playing better baseball. They are playing better baseball. This is going to be a shorter video because, I could just rave about Bryce Miller for another 10 minutes if you want, but, what else is there to say? What else is there to say other than he has just looked spectacular? Nothing else really to add. Command has been so good. Movement on his fastball is elite. And it's just so crazy. He's been just this strike-throwing machine. Baseball, man. What a fun, wacky sport it is. Tomorrow we've got Logan Gilbert against Joey Wentz. Advantage Mariners. Advantage Mariners indeed. Man, I just saw Friday. We've got Bryce Miller against Bryce Elder. It's an interesting one. On Apple TV, which frustrates me because Grandma can't watch. Grandma can't watch those ones, but be curious to find out from her. So my grandma likes to watch the replay games. She likes... she doesn't like watching the baseball game during the day if she can't help it because, unfortunately, she's a 93-year-old woman who doesn't love the nighttime. She misses her husband. She misses her grandson when he can't come over. She misses her daughter. So those nighttime games are kind of a comfort for her. And that's one of the reasons, too, why she's not as big a fan as some other people might be about how short these baseball games are now. We talk about the positives about getting done for people who use baseball as their entertainment. And boy, oh boy, is that the case for my grandma. Cutting out about half an hour of entertainment for her. Just something to think about. I'm not asking baseball to change their rules for my grandma. But, there are consequences. Every action, consequence. Yeah, it's great to see how well they've been, especially pitching lately. Like the pitching staff has been just outstanding. Really since the start of the Oakland series. There were some bumps, I guess, against Houston. but just unreal. 2 of the last 4 games shutouts, and seeing just young pitcher after young pitcher after young pitcher impress like this. You could argue that Luis Castillo's been their worst starter as of late. You really can. And to say I have no concerns about him is just the unbelievable understatement of understatements. It's great to see. Want to see the bats getting a little better, but I like this lineup. I like the setup of this lineup right now. And it works because Kelenic has been so good. It wouldn't have worked if not for the resurgence of Kelenic. You make changes a little bit because of Julio's results, but I think this is for the better for the long term and short term. I really do. I don't know why I keep saying really do, like you believe I'm lying or something, but fun win. Follow me on Twitter at Crawford_MILB. Sports sometimes, RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast, all that good stuff. But please hit like and please hit subscribe on these. I'd really love to get up into that 500 subscriber mark by the end of this month. We're kind of stagnating a little bit on the subscribers, and that's okay. 350 is more than I thought we would have at this point. But yeah, I'd really appreciate if you think people dig this stuff, share it. Love to have more viewers, and appreciate all your good comments and appreciate your constructive criticism as well. Yeah, good one. Bryce Miller, command artist. Baseball's weird.